I'm Elaine and welcome to my kitchen. And I want to thank you for stopping by and visiting my channel today. Well, today we are going to make a cola cake. This is an old recipe that I actually got back in the 70s, and I used to make a lot when my children were young because they enjoyed this. So let me turn this down and get started. Okay, and bring that just a little bigger. There we go. Okay, now in my mixing bowl here, I have 2 cups of flour that has been sifted first and then measured. That is a very important step that you want to do because flour tends to pack down in the bag, and you can wind up using a lot more flour than the recipe calls for if you don't sift it and measure it first. So that is always a step that is very necessary. Okay, and then to that we're going to add 2 cups of sugar, and I'm going to whisk this together just like that. Okay, and we are going to set this aside, and I'm going to move you over to my stove, and I will be back with you just in a moment. Okay, I'm back at my stove now, and I have my oven preheating to 350 degrees, and I have also, hold on just a minute, I've also greased and floured a 9x13 baking dish. This is just a Pyrex dish that I'm going to be using, but I have greased it and floured it, and we're going to set that aside. Okay, so I'm going to turn you down so you can see what I am doing here. Make you a little bit bigger. All right. Okay, there we go. So I have a heavy saucepan here, and what I'm going to do is add my cola. Now I'm just using a 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola, but you can use any kind of cola that you like. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and pour that cola right into our saucepan. And I'm going to turn my heat on. Okay, and then we're going to add the butter. So I'm just going to drop 1 stick of butter into the pan. And I'm also going to add the oil. So it takes 1/2 cup of oil. Now I'm just using canola. So I'm adding 1/2 cup of oil. And then we're going to also add 1/4 cup of cocoa. And I'm going to start whisking this. And we want to get this all whisked together and bring us to a boil. So, and there is my oven up to temperature for the cake. Okay. So it'll take a minute. You have to whisk this constantly because you don't want anything to stick or scorch. So we're going to be whisking this constantly until it does come to a boil. And you can see it's starting to warm up, and the ingredients are starting to mix together well. Now I first made this cake probably in 1982 for my daughter's birthday when she was a little girl. And she was so fascinated with this cake because it had the cola in it that she didn't even want to open her present. She didn't want to play any games. She just wanted to eat. We used to have a video recording of her saying she wanted to eat, but I don't know whatever happened to that. That's been years, and since I've even seen that. But anyway, this is really a good and moist cake, and I'm sure that you'll be happy with it if you try this recipe. Now I will be listing the ingredients down below in the description so that you can try it if you like. Okay, and starting to get there. I think we're getting close to having it to a boil, so I'm going to turn the camera off, and when this comes to a boil, we're going to go back over to the island, and I'm going to show you how to mix this together. Be back in a minute. Okay, I am back. Our mixture has come to a boil, and so let me turn you down so you can see the bowl again. And this is the bowl that we had the flour and the sugar mixed together in. So we're just going to add this hot liquid to the bowl and start whisking this together. Cool thing about this recipe is you do not need a mixer to make it. You can just stir it together like I've just done here. Okay, and we're going to get this combined well, and when I do, we're going to set it aside for just a minute while I get the rest of the ingredients prepared. So we're almost there. This smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. It actually smells terrific. Next, with the cocoa. Okay, now I do have that together, so we're just going to move that aside. And now to this, I have 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And in that 1/2 cup of buttermilk, I'm going to dissolve 1 teaspoon of baking soda. This is baking soda and not baking powder. Baking soda. So let me grab a fork, and I'm going to start, or a spoon. Let me grab a fork, and I'm going to start getting that mixed together so that dissolves. Now, I don't know if you can see the little air bubbles forming in here, but what is happening, you see those bubbles? What is happening is the baking soda is reacting with the acid that is in that buttermilk. And what that is going to do is cause this to rise and help make it a nice light cake. So, and I believe that is dissolved. Okay, and I'm going to pour that in, and we're going to whisk that in. Let's just pull this back over where you can see a little better. Okay. Now, and it's not mixed entirely, but that's okay, because at this point I am going to get my eggs. Get my eggs out of my refrigerator. Okay, this recipe calls for 2 large eggs, so I'm just going to put these eggs in here. There's a little bit of baking and buttermilk left in there. I want to make sure I get that in too. Okay, and we're going to add to that 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to pour that into. Okay, there's our vanilla extract. Okay, and I'm going to just whisk these eggs and whisk all this together. Okay, and there we go, it's getting there. Now I have the whisk, but I am going to switch over to a spatula because I don't want to overmix this and have it become dry and crumbly. So I'm just going to switch over to a spatula. And it's coming along really, really well. Okay, there it is. So let me just make sure that we have it mixed well. And it looks like I do. Okay, so I'm going to push that aside. Okay, and we're just going to pour that right into our or sheet cake, or a baking dish, sheet cake pan, whatever you want to use for this. I'm just using, let's say, a glass Pyrex dish, and that will work just fine. Alright, and there it is. It's ready to go into the oven. Okay, oopsie, sorry about that. Now, this will go in the oven for about 30 minutes or until it tests done. But I'm going to set my timer, and for that last 15 minutes, I will be back and we're going to start the frosting because we want to pour that over the cake while it's still warm. So I will be back when I am ready to start the frosting, and just before this cake gets done. Okay, according to my timer, my cake has about 13 minutes to go, so it is definitely time to start this frosting. So let me turn you down so you can see what I'm doing. Bring that a little closer for you. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this 12-ounce can of cola, and we just open the top. Okay, and I'm going to pour that right into my saucepan. Okay, I have turned the heat up on this, and what I'm going to do is when this starts to boil, I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and I'm going to reduce this down to where there's only about a half a cup of liquid left in the pan. And when it gets to that point, we're going to mix the rest of the ingredients together to make that frosting. So I will be back as soon as I get that part done. Okay, my cake is out of the oven, and you can see that the cola has reduced down to where we only have about 1/2 cup left in the pan. So what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to put the pan back on the stove, and we're going to add the butter and the cocoa, and I'm going to whisk that together until the butter has melted. So let me turn my heat back on. Turn my heat off for a minute. Okay, and we're going to get this whisked together just like that. And also, while I got it to this stage, I am going to add just about a ½ teaspoon of vanilla. Let's just put that in too while I'm thinking about it. It's about what that little capful there is. I'd say is approximately a ½ teaspoon. Okay, and let's get this stirred together now and get this butter melted. And then what we're going to do is I have in this container, I have 4 cups of confectioner's sugar. And we're going to add that confectioner's sugar to our mixture here. So I am going to go ahead and get this butter melted and get this cooked. And when it gets done, I'm going to be moving you back over to the island, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, and here is the cake. You didn't get to see, ouch, still hot. So you still didn't get to see that a minute ago. So what I'm going to do at this point, while this cake is still hot, is I'm just going to take the back side of my wooden spoon here, of the handle, and we're going to pour, there goes my dryer, we're going to pour this hot frosting mixture down into this cake. And what it's going to do is melt down in here and really make this super, super moist. Alright. Okay, so, and let me turn you this way a little bit. And there is my frosting. Now that is a little thick, so what I'm going to do is add just a little more cola to that. And we're going to kind of stir this around till I get it so that it will pour onto this cake. Yeah, and that's getting a little better. So I think we're there. Yeah, see? Alright, so let me grab a spatula and turn you back over here where you can see the cake again. Turn that back a little. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to pour that on the cake. and a few little grains of confectioner's sugar that were on the edge of the pan poured in that, but that's okay. That's not going to hurt a thing. It will mix together. See, just like that, it will smooth out. Okay, and I'm just going to smooth this over my cake. Okay. And got a little more in here, so I'm going to go ahead and add that as well. Okay, and there it is. Paper towel here. Clean up just a little bit. Okay. And there we have our cake. And what we're probably going to do, tomorrow is Sunday, and on Sunday, with Sunday dinner, I typically like to have some kind of dessert or something, so that tomorrow, this is going to be our dessert. So we'll take a little out tomorrow, and what I will do the rest of it is cut it into slices and individually wrap it, put those in Ziploc bags, and I'll put it in my freezer so that the next time somebody wants a little piece of cake or something sweet, it will be there, and all they have to do is thaw it out. You can usually put it back in the microwave for maybe 30 seconds or so, or you can just leave it sit out on the counter for an hour or so till you're ready to eat it. Okay, well, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. If you found this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe, and also the little message bell so that you'll be notified whenever I do new videos. So again, have a great rest of the weekend, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.